Look how long it has taken us to get here.
Yeah.
But look how things are changing now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're even calling it climate change. Well, it took them long enough, but they got it, I guess.
Yeah.
Look, all you have to do is just sit down and be quiet. And actually more than quiet, you're told be still and know that I'm God. Why would you have anything else more important to do than that? Can you think of any? I'd like to hear it.
Can't think of it.
I mean, if you do that, the rest of it's thrown on you because that's seeking the kingdom of God. That's seeking heaven. You're told to bring heaven on earth so you can do it. If God told you to do it, why would he tell you to do it if you couldn't do it? So if he told you to do it, he knows you can do it. Why don't you know it? Because you haven't tried it. And that's all you have to do. Look, when you pray, you don't have to do anything. If you can just ask for what you want and thank you, Father, that's, I mean, what did Jesus say? Jesus told you right off, I of myself can do nothing. If Jesus can do nothing, what are you worried about? I mean, he relies on his Father for everything. He said, I of myself can do nothing. The Father does all. See, there said all again, all the work. All you're to do is choose this day. And like I said, it's always this day. So what are you waiting for? See that? What are you waiting for? I waited and waited. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Even today, I still can't tell you what I was waiting for then. But I knew the moment I heard the word for the first time, I actually heard it. I heard it before. It was hitting on my earballs. I know it. But hey, that's not paying attention because there's all kinds of things coming to you. And all you have to do is start complaining about something, and subconscious mind says, oh, okay. Another. Yes.
What has your attention?
But you see, it is that easy.
I do.
See, no, you'd be sitting there, and the airplane goes over, and your mind goes, there you go, or a fire engine goes by, or somebody, and it, or uh, you see, you have to be aware that all of these things are going to happen,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can't live in a shell, but you know they're going to happen, and if you know they're going to happen, they'll happen, and they won't really disturb you.
Absolutely.
So, if in other words, this is all training yourself to actually feel what you want to feel and feel better about it. But if you're not, come on. I talk to people. Look, in private interviews, I talk to people. Like I said, at first 5, 10 minutes, they're knocking themselves right there. I'm right there. I mean, tell them, look, why are you doing that? They say, doing what? Huh? Well, you just knocked yourself 2 or 3 times right there. You lowered your own idea of yourself right there, and then you come to me to ask you how to change that. You're told very simply, change your mind, change your world. That the first does the second. That God does all the work. All you're to do is choose better, and that's all we're here to tell you to do, is to teach yourself to choose better because you can only think one thought at a time.
Wow.
That, I heard that and I heard that and I heard that. And I'm saying, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. But did I do it? I mean, did I actually sit down and do it? Not for a long, long time. But I was agreeing with it. And if you'd ask me, I'd say, oh, I know that. But I didn't know that. I knew about it. But most people just knowing about some, well, I know about it, so someday it'll be okay. Hey, there's nothing transforming in death. whatever part you're playing right now with the attitudes, assumptions, and moods, that goes right with you. So in other words, you don't get off the hook. You're on it until you get yourself off the hook. In other words, when you change your mind, you change your world. God's not changing your mind to change your world. He gave you choose this day, and you're using the power to do that exact thing. Choose this day. And you are choosing. If you're not aware of it, well, there's the whole idea right there, right? That's the whole idea for this program.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It is. And let me add this. Somebody had put a request. They asked a comment. They said, well, so are you and Mr. Lindo like super rich? And I said, what we are is we're super happy. People think that you have to be wealthy to give this message. And you're missing the point. If you think that there's a lot of wealthy people putting guns to their heads and blowing their heads off, there's a lot of wealthy people jumping off of bridges. There's a lot of unhappy, wealthy people. Don't get the message twisted. This is not our message for us. We got it. We're giving the message to you. So if wealth is the thing that you're pursuing, then pursue it wholeheartedly. But if happiness is the thing that you're pursuing, then pursue happiness wholeheartedly. But wealth is not the criteria to give the message. It's the byproduct of the message.
That's it. Wholeheartedness.
Yeah.
That seals it up. That's what you're told to do. He says, as a man thinketh in his heart. In other words, your feeling nature. What is your feeling nature? That everything's going to hell in a basket. If you have that attitude, well, get a bigger basket. Because all things produce after their own kind, so you'll have plenty of baskets to fill. But it all comes down to this. It's your attitude.
Yeah.
Not where you got it, not how you came to have it. And you've probably been working on it for a long time. It's probably so habitual that 90% of the time you don't even know you're acting out of an attitude that you don't want any more of. But you get it. And you say, well, it always happens to me. Yeah, well, that's what you're claiming. It's always happening to you. And he says, oh, okay. They themselves are makers of themselves.
Absolutely.
What do you think these people think of us anyway?
Well, those who love us, and those who don't. And you move on.
Oh, okay. What we want to inspire them to do is to share what we're sharing with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because if it improves your life, it'll improve anybody's life. Look, God is no respecter of persons. If he's ever healed anyone, anywhere, anytime, then he'll help you just the same, because he's no respecter of person. Jesus said that he of himself could do nothing, that the Father does all the work. And he's telling you, as you think you are. So what would be your priority but to see what you're thinking? Because you're going to be experiencing it, good, bad, or indifferent. Whoa. Who, me? I did that. I said that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They always say, what did he say? I don't know now. Yeah. But that's what it is. You have to really take some time for yourself, because if you don't look, hey, so a man, when did a what is the people trim your nails and that?
Oh, pedicure.
Yeah, pedicure. Yeah, he goes in the pedicure, and she's looking at him. She goes, "This is a disaster. You see, if you don't take care of yourself, you fall apart.
Yeah.
If you don't watch what you're thinking, you get torn apart."
Yeah. True.
Literally. Yeah. But you are in charge. See, God gave you in charge of your own life. When he gave you choose this day, he gave you the power to change your mind, to change your world. He gave you that. And if you're not focused on what you're doing, well, then you're setting yourself up or you're setting yourself free, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It happens to everybody the same way. We ain't getting anything special. We get the same thing you get if we talk the way you talk, and if you talk the way we talk, you get what we get, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I mean, that's what church was about, to give you the information. I mean, so I'm sure that everything religion is actually man-made.
It is.
That's all man's ideas. Now, if you have a better one, don't let it go, because there's a mass says this and you're all alone. But that's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be alone in here. You have in charge, but charge of what? What you're thinking. Well, what are you thinking? That's all there is to it. It's that simple. Keep it that simple and you'll remember it. You start complicating it by all the stories, you see, then you don't get the essence of it. And the essence is that you're in charge, take charge. I mean, isn't that the idea? You're taking charge. I mean, that's what you want. Everybody wants to be in. What are they looking for power for?
Yeah.
So they can control things. Well, you were given the power to control yourself, and if you control yourself, you got it made. You can stroll through. But if you're not controlling yourself, well, there again, they themselves are makers of themselves. But you do have what you need to change it. That's what you want to remember. That was already given you before you were even here. That was given to you to say your say. And someone says, well, how do I know I'm saying the right thing? Well, just keep saying it until it feels good. Isn't that it?
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to learn to start talking honestly to ourselves.
Yeah.
You see, because I found I was quite a liar. I covered up all kinds of things, and I had justifications, reasons, and for any and everything, and that has to go. I mean, if you really want to play the game right, you're told choose it. You have to choose. When you're going to pray, you're actually choosing it. You're actually, I am that feeling must embrace in yourself, because it's as within, so without. So if you're disturbed and destroyed inside, then that's what you're going to experience outside. Isn't that it?
Absolutely. And I like that you said, listen, I've lied to myself and, I gave myself reasons and excuses. And you said that has to go. And many of us have lived in it so long that we've taken the lie as truth. But deep down inside, we know that it's a lie. And we need to come to realization that we are the creators of our life and choose differently.
That's called disease.
Yeah.
That's called suffering.
Yeah.
See, and if you expect it,
yeah,
what else could you get?
Absolutely.
So if you're expecting more of it, well, then you get more of it. All you have to do is start complaining about something, and it doubles right away. There it is. What like I said, what's the first thing you teach your little kids? Pay attention. And what are we trying to talk to you about right now? Pay attention.
Yeah.
Because if you're not paying attention, you can stumble and kill yourself, right?
Absolutely.
That's simple.
Absolutely.
A second can change everything. And I know I've changed a lot of things that way. Not favorably either.
Yeah.
But you see, you're given an out. Someone says, there's no way out. No, that's not true. There is a way out. It's already been provided. You don't have to make it so. You only have to choose it so, right?
Absolutely.
See the work is not yours. As a matter of fact, people say, well, I don't have the stomach to fight anymore. Well, it's not your fight unless you want to get in. I mean, if you want to duke it out, go right ahead, but you're not required to. That's already taken care of. Why mess with it? And that's all you're doing. You're just messing with yourself. You got to take yourself seriously. And someone's not going to take you seriously. Oh, he's laughing about something. But no, no, that must become a habitual state, because I know people who live in a constant negative state, damn near 24 hours a day. But you look at them and they're just wasting away. I mean, really, really. And then the ones that have been doing it all along, you see them and they're, you know, you don't know what they did to me. No, I don't. But I know what you did to you, but I don't know what they did to you. See, we don't want to take the fault. We don't want to be at fault, but we are. We're the cause of everything that happens to us in our lives. They themselves are makers of themselves. How can you get around that?
You can't. You can't.
If you try to, that means you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And I was talking to somebody. What we're not talking, let me go on and say this because I had a conversation with a coaching client recently. What we're not talking about is victimhood. If you're in something that is undesirable for you, get out of it. You're given to choose to get out of it. We're not talking just because you're the makers of yourself, you can remake yourself. So what we're not saying is that if you're in a bad situation, that you have to stay there. We're not saying that. We're saying change your mind, change your world.
And the first does the second.
Absolutely.
See, that's it. When we're saying metaphysical art theater, that's the theater of the mind of imagination. And imagination, that's God himself.
Absolutely.
Because he's all things to all. So what can you imagine? And you say, well, that's just a lot of fantasy. Hey, science fiction isn't a fantasy. It's just thinking ahead of your evidence.
Yeah.
That's all there is. It can be profitable if you're paying attention, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what you're given to do. You're given to pay attention. And I'll tell you this, you either pay attention or you'll pay. And dearly so at times, I'll tell you. So it really pays to pay attention. And the more you do so, the more you'll have so to because all things produce after their own kind. So why not stay with the kind that you want, not something you don't want, because you get more of that. Oh, look, all you have to do is start complaining, and then that your world goes right down. People wonder why they're so depressed. Well, what are you thinking about? Is it depressing? Well, that's how you get depressed, isn't it?
It is. It is. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was saying, that all the men that she had encountered were dogs. And I said, you have to change your conversation. I said, because the only thing you're going to attract is fleas.
Well, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the he you is, then you change your thinking.
Yeah.
Sounds simple, but it's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Attitude. It's all about attitude. We're trying to give you a new attitude. Soak it up. Suck it up. You're not worthy, so you don't have to worry about that because you've already been told ain't one worthy. So, but what your saving grace is your willingness.
Yeah.
That's it. Are you willing to sit in the silence? Hey, for a few minutes, I'm not telling you stay there for weeks. I'm just telling you to sit there for a few minutes, because you see what you're looking for your dream. And if you'll keep looking for it until you actually feel, you get those goosebumps running up and down you,
Yeah.
For a moment, you're there, you're doing it, you're being it. And you see, here's the thing: when you're there, this is the dream. But when you're here, that's the dream. But you're told to dream the dream. So you're in control, even if you're out of control. Think about that. That's what we're telling you to go sit and think about. Because this is your own message, first person, present tense experience. This is your message. So if you want to shun it, that you can put off pursuing a beautiful idea forever. But why? Why? If it's a beautiful idea, jump in. Come on. It's ready for you. It's already with you. God said, everything I have is yours. He even gave you himself. As a matter of fact, that's who actually is the power of everything you're doing. Mm-hmm. But you're directing the power because you were given to choose this day. So it's you directing. God says, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. And obviously that is the idea, that you're not paying attention to him, because if you realized he was with you, you'd kind of think different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite differently.
That's true. So yeah, as we're winding down, getting out your own way, what would you say to the listeners as we're winding down, getting out your own way?
Well, that's what you are doing. You are in your own way, and it's not a good way.
Yeah.
You see, there's your way and there's God's way, but God's way is not man's ways. So he's telling you that you're the one doing the choosing. Well, what are you choosing? See, you have no question for God. He gave you choose. That's it. So he needs to have nothing to do with you except just to be your power. Yeah. That's all. He's not answering your prayers. Subconscious mind is answering your prayers because it's producing your world in exact to your word. You're told to dress your world, and you're doing so. And if it isn't dressed the way you want it, choose again. Someone says, well, what if I choose and it goes wrong? Well, choose again. Choose again, choose again. You're told choose this day, and it's always this day, so you can do it every day. A new life, a new lifestyle. Every day, choose a new one. And it starts when you choose it. But you got to stay with it. You see, it takes you in it, thinking from it to make it so. But what you are in thinking from, that is so. Make sure you like it.
I like that you added also, but you got to stay with it, because I think a lot of times people think a thought for a few moments and then they get derailed because of life. And then they start thinking their old negative way again. And then they say, well, I tried that stuff and it doesn't work, but it's always working.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why you have a problem, because it's always working. Yeah. And you're not thinking positive, you're thinking negative. Yeah, it's always working. That's for sure. But you see, the thing of it is that you don't have to make up someone else's mind. You just have to make up your own mind. See, and that you can do because you're in charge. Those little distractions, they eat your time up all the time. They're always eating your time up. But it's okay if you just get right back. See, being distracted, I mean, that's going to happen. I don't care what I don't know if you could be that silent. I wore earplugs for a lot of years. In fact, the ones I had were orange. My wife just always go. She said, "You're not going to wear those out in public." I go, "No, I'll think about that." But you do have to be tough on yourself, because I mean you're learning a new discipline. You see, if you're undisciplined thinking, that's not really wise. And to be a disciplined thinker, you have to be aware of what you're thinking. Because if you're not aware of what you're thinking, well, then you can't be aware of what you're thinking. I know it all sounds silly, but I'm trying to keep it simple
Yeah,
because that's what it was to me. Keep it simple, stupid. See, because I that was it. I complicate everything. I mean, I could take the best idea and turn it into dust. I think about it and think about it until it just somehow dissipates. But you see, how many people have had really great ideas, but they don't even remember it now. But they at the moment they were having that idea, they thought, wow. But you see, you didn't stick with it. And that's the only difference between a failure and a success. If you know, if people would actually count the times they're successful and praise themselves for the successes, they'd find those increasing rather than the failures, which saying, "Oh, it always happens to me." Well, that there you just set yourself up for always,
yeah, exactly.
and that's what you're actually doing, really.
Yeah,
See, we're this is not a joke. This is real. This is what you're experiencing, although it is a virtual reality. In other words, here actually nothing here is really real as reality as being reality. It is real enough for the drama man. I mean, this is solid and real enough for the drama man, but any scientist is going to tell you they ain't solid at all. Well, come on. You know, like I said, really, if you give yourself credit for the things you do right, you'd be doing more right, right?
absolutely.
If you're only thinking on things that are lovely and a good report, well, what else would you experience if as you think you are? See, it's really very, very simple, but you can complicate it by going into the stories and trying to make every little thing mean something, which it does. But you don't need to know it to change your mind and change your world. Then afterwards, you'll go and read it and actually understand that it was always right there in front of you. It was right with you all along. But that you have to get to that point first. And you only get there by sitting in a silence. Can you do that? Can you go sit in a silence? That not for hours, 10 minutes. Can you actually sit there and hold your attention for 10 minutes? Well, 5 minutes at first. It's like I told you, 52 push-ups got it down to 5 or 2. You can do it.
You can.
God said you can do it. So if God said you can do it, then you can do it. And if you're saying you can't do it, what then? It's you setting that up that way because you're always making the decisions, even if you're saying, "Well, I didn't decide that." Well, yeah, well, obviously, if you didn't decide that and it happened, well, then God made a mistake. Uh, I can't go with it that way. I'm sorry, but you got to be the guilty one, and you are guilty. Come on, let's face it. Not one's worthy, so that means you're guilty of something.
Yeah,
Even look, I'm guilty of all the things a man is guilty of, but even if it was just thought, you see, if it was just thought, because that's a temptation to keep that thought going. And if you have a negative thought and you don't dismiss it immediately, there's all these other negative thoughts are going to be drawn to it, and it starts expanding. And then where are you? You're under it, not over it. And you're told you can be over it because you have choice. If you didn't have choice, then you wouldn't be guilty of nothing then, would you?
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, sir, like always,
Oh, we
pleasure.
doing this?
Yeah, been a pleasure.
It sure goes by pretty fast, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. Actually, when you get my age, everything goes fast. Whoa, slow down. Well, attitude, awareness, and imaginational control. You get these two working for you, stroll through.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Attitude, attitude, attitude. Montaigne told us that all you have to do is just watch your attitudes, and you know where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and how you're going to be doing it. And if you know that, you can change it.
Mm.
And that's all you have to do. Just pay attention. Yeah, come on. Like I said, the first thing you teach your children is pay attention. Well, why would it be any different now?
It's not.
Huh? Okie dokie.
All right, sir. Been a pleasure. Talk to you
Talk to you
later.
later.
Okay.
People just want to know what you did to be successful.
The 4 CDs that I have out there, it's all there. If you took any one of the CDs and actually followed through on what you understood there, you could change your mind, change your world. All you have to do is just listen to the CDs. It's always reiteration and reiteration.
I want to go back to the 4 CD set. Go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. We can only mail in the U.S. right now, but for those who are outside the U.S., we can send you a digital bundle with everything, so you'll get the enjoyment without waiting for it in the mail. Matter of fact, those who are in the U.S., if you would rather have the digital copies, we can do that as well. metaphysicalarttheater.com.